All right, guys. So sorry for this cut. We're back. I had to go take a little bathroom break. So we were talking about uh, Platinum, how he was one of the first, if not the first, to show the effectiveness of smoke bomb on video.
Well, and I will say before that, one of my fondest things is how that he actually started doing it. Going back to you, how you ended up starting to help the community. Platinum didn't really want to help the community
He,
at
he
first,
he wanted to keep his
and
strat for him, pretty much
yeah,
keep
and
the
I'm
secret.
really yeah, I'm really happy that he decided to end up doing that. In fact, we named one of the ranks on Iberian site
Because of him.
platinum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that really irritated a lot of I would say, the better players. And it's like, well, what about us? Type thing or whatever. But I think a lot of people strive to, oh wow, if I could reach platinum level,
Oh
because
yeah, definitely. I
and
think
see that
when
was
I joined Iberians, it was one, and like for annoying people, I think, and this is where it's one of those things where if we still had the old forum, I feel like me and Al say that a lot, but if we still had it, you could go back because I feel like a lot of people when he got 55 million, Al, I don't know if you can remember exactly, but I swear the closest person to him was maybe 52.
oh
Batman,
yeah.
probably.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I want to say 51, but I'm not. I can't remember like exactly. But no one was even close to 55. So, giving him, it wasn't like someone had 51 and Platinum got 51.5. He was millions, quite literally millions of points ahead. So it was and even to this day, 55 million. I
It's
think there's
insane. It's insane.
there's three,
It's
three or
top
four
three.
people that have it.
Top three.
It-
You, well, five people. Batman, you, Platinum, randomize, kill. That's it.
yeah. It's 55 million is an insane like mission mode total to
And
have. It's
yeah, and I mean, like you said, it is insane because I mean, you look at me, I hadn't gotten 50 yet, and the struggles that it takes going to 50, knowing all the problems. Now imagine everything that
Back
I've
then,
done,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and then trying to go for an extra
mhm,
5 million on top of what I've done. I mean, some people say, "Oh my God, that's just too hard," and
yeah.
and some people think that on 40 million, they were happy to break 40 million.
Yeah.
God, what was his name? Walking Beast, Mr. Kill That Show.
Yeah, oh yeah, Walking Beast, yeah, Walking Beast. Oh man, he was one of my favorite people on the old forum. He was so funny.
But he makes some videos, and he said, "I was just happy to get 40." So,
Yeah.
getting 50 was the goal, and of course, going from there. But I will say another thing that changed the game back then from whenever I started was nobody knew the time limits or chapter kills like everybody knows now.
Mm,
And I remember getting together with the community with a guy named Delicious, and we used to kind of go back and forth, and we were trying to figure out when you would get 100,000 points and when you would get, when that would change.
mhm.
So I was talking to Weeble about it, and he says, "Oh, that's easy. You just, take the slope of this," and he started talking all this math terms, and then it was disgusting. And he wrote it all out and he sent it to me. And so we came up and we got the community to come together to give us what we needed. We needed, I think, one score and two chapter times is what gave us the kills and the times.
Mhm.
Is how it worked out. And from there, we were able to get all the time limits to make your 100,000, all the kills to make your 100,000 for not only Ninja Gaiden, the Hurricane Pack, Sigma. I think it didn't work for Ninja Gaiden 2, and it really didn't matter for Ninja Gaiden
Well,
2.
yeah, it kind of doesn't.
Right. But for those games, so that's where all of a sudden, hey, now I know what I have to get. I remember whenever I was one of the first people to break 24 million on Master Ninja. Now, that's not anything compared to what the scores are now, but back then,
No, it's still
it was.
impressive. It's still very impressive, I think, regardless of the time. Yeah, it's still impressive.
But that was before all the strats were known. I think the reason my score doesn't end in a 0 is because we didn't know about um, the little trick in chapter 2 to get the ninja to respawn.
Yep.
And so we had to skip a fight. So before you would flip up into the building and go to the Mirai statue, you would leave one enemy alive, flip up into the building. Well, then you wouldn't, get your kill bonus or anything, and it would end in some strange number. Then you would jump back down, the fight would respawn, and then that's how you would make up your kills. So I think
Side note, do you
having
think that was done on purpose though, or that's a dev mistake in your opinion?
that we didn't that we did that. Well, we had to do that
Yeah,
because
yeah, that you had to do that. I mean, to get the amount of kill. Is it something you think that was design intended by the dev, or it was a mistake and then people found a way to correct that mistake by doing that specific trick to get the amount of kill that you were supposed to do?
well, see, because here's the reason why. If that chapter has the exact number of kills you need to get your chapter bonus of 100,000. I forget how many it is offhand, but that's when you had to knock Masakato off his horse, and it was always hard to get the 16 mages.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
And
was that was with that in mind though back then? Is that what you needed
Yes.
to do? You needed to get all the
Yeah.
mage so that you would get
Yeah.
exactly the amount of kill that you need. All right, that sounds about
Right.
right then.
So
Yeah.
then that way, even though you would lose out on your 10K bonus for making the time limit or a couple UTs, because you had those extra kills to play with, then you didn't have to kill all the enemies with Masakato, which was hard to do anyway. And then
Well, it's
you would,
random.
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
because I think
Wyansis figured that out. Did you also do it?
no,
He
I
said
did
he
that.
found out a definite way. Do what?
Yeah, pretty sure that was me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That figured it out for exactly all 16 kills every time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I like did that in a stream a while ago.
Oh well.
Like
I don't know what-
unless he did it earlier, but yeah,
No.
like when did he post it? Because
Oh well, his video is just out. I think 4 or 5 months ago, but it's still pretty impressive if
right,
people
okay.
haven't watched it.
well, yeah, I mean that's kind of the thing with this game. I feel is that and this gets into a different topic, I think, but with the way YouTube is now and like Twitch and all that other stuff, NG just isn't a game that kind of trends. People don't really see it, so you can have people like, for example, there are videos on NG like on YouTube. You can search for them kind of word for word, but they don't come up. Like you can search for like Ninja Gaiden Black, Master Ninja, Military Destruction Phase 5, and that won't be the first video that pops up.
Right.
Because there's just the way the YouTube works. Like YouTube picks up Ninja Gaiden Master Ninja, and then we'll throw you like the most watched video with that in it, and you're like, no, that's not what I'm looking for. So it's awkward like to search for that stuff now, because it's something that I still get to this day. Like people ask what, and this is not people's fault, but like people ask like obvious questions on videos all the time, and they always say, oh, sorry for asking. It's like, well, no, you don't have to be sorry for asking. Like it's it's not easy to find stuff as you it's not as easy to find stuff as you would think on YouTube these days.
Yeah, and that's
Well,
also the whole algorithm of YouTube is really to prioritize the people that are already big. These days, it's not like it was back then. I think the good old era of YouTube was from 2007 to 2012. When there wasn't any copyright, you could upload any music with any video. Right. It didn't matter. And then when they started the monetization and all of that, that's pretty much when all of that the spontaneousness, if you want, of everything, how people were just uploading whatever they want, it kind of got left out, and then you had to be careful on the song that you put in the video. You had to be careful with what you say, and blah blah blah. The whole scene kind of changed with that, and
I think it's getting away from NG, but I think that whole thing, like, it's such a it's a different era now. I think with regards to like YouTube and that. I think when way back when no one thought of YouTube as a career beforehand, or like making gaming videos. Like making gaming videos as a job,
No,
even
just
5 years ago wasn't really a thing,
no, it's true.
as it is now. Whereas now, like it kind of is, if you sometimes it's one of the best examples I think of like sometimes it's just better to be lucky than good. Like if you can just get lucky with what you're doing and it catches on, that's it. You can kind of blow up overnight, but.
Yeah, I look at some of these
I-
people on there that have tons of, 100,000 people or 60,000 people or whatever, and I'm like, man, they don't play the game that great. And what's
Yeah,
sad to
yeah,
see-
I agree with you, Miguel. But you see,
Yeah.
that's the thing, though. A lot of time, though, nowadays it's not about that focus, sadly, because it goes sometimes with just the personality of the person itself. So if I'm not gonna use name in a video like this, but there's just, let's say, some people sometimes that will strive towards being more toxic in their chat, and then they will get people that likes drama and all that stuff, and that will incite more people to join in to see on that drama and all. So at that point, it's not really about, wow, that player is great, I'm gonna go watch him because it's great and I want to learn. Most
Right.
people don't see it like that nowadays.
Well, that's
Yeah.
sad. But JTB did say one point. You said that you showed that on a stream. Well,
Yeah.
some people don't, see those streams, but they do
Exactly,
get a chance
yeah.
to see the videos. So, I wasn't trying to disrespect you in any way.
Oh no, I get that.
didn't
I mean,
know
I say if it's if he's done a video on it, that's good because I didn't because I'm I guess I'm just lazy. But if I've done something on stream, I'll just say, oh yeah, that's on stream. Just go watch this. It's
Right.
there.
But
and
so going back to where we were in terms of that. So anyway, being able to not worry about getting all 16 of those mages and speed killing
Yeah.
Masakata more than made up for you leaving a fight early and coming back. That was the whole point of
Mhm.
that whole thing.
Yeah.
That's what was
It's
known
even-
back then, and then it moved up. So having the kills and the times, I think, really made a
Huge
big
difference. Yeah.
Yeah, because
and when to do the fiend challenges, even though that's been
Yeah.
tested a little bit now on like
well, on the
Kel,
higher difficulties, yeah, because I think if you work out the kills, you're kind of quote supposed to do them in that chapter. But I think I honestly can't remember the first person who did it, but I think it might have been a Sigma strategy. I think because Sigma's a bit different on some of the time limits, but now I think it's kind of hard to argue really. Like there's no point if you're playing for score. There's no point doing the zombie challenge in chapter 7. Like you just don't need to.
Right.
You can make up the kills elsewhere, and then you can go back when you've got celerity, and you're charging UTs faster. So you're getting your
the
50
UF.
UTs quicker.
That makes sense actually. That's why I was
Yeah.
wondering at first why Kel skipped it, but then I thought about it. It was just like he's probably gonna be able to go there later, and it's gonna just be way faster. Especially some of those chapters have such long time limit, I guess, that if you just check a little bit where people are finishing faster, where you could extend a little more time, then you just use that chapter to go there, and that's it.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, chapter 12's time limit is it's down to the Berserker challenge, and this is where I feel like it gets into the time limits. I feel like are quite. They reveal kind of a lot, I think, with regards to the development and how much they knew. Because I know me and Al have talked about this, but did the developers like foresee stuff like Marbus farming and the low health
That's
UF
a really
and all
good
that?
question, right? That's a
and
really
I feel like.
I don't think they tested that far.
I don't
to be
think they-
fair.
no,
Yeah,
I don't think they did either,
so. I don't think so because the amount of time that it would have, take it doesn't make sense that they would have tested all of that.
You can't blame them, but this is where I think, and this is something me and Al have talked about as well in the past. Usually that's our road trip talk. I honestly think it's fluke, and I don't mean that in a bad way.
No. I agree with you. I agree with you. On that.
when you're making a game, you don't have time to test, the archive challenge on Master Ninja for 100 hours. That's just not.
You replay it non-stop ground floor to see what's the bonus time.
Yeah, it's funny because like if you in this era, I think it's one of those weird things, but I've talked about this before, but I have worked on games and I did game development. I have experience in that. The way a lot of people, I think, just kind of online think how game testing works is not actually at all how game testing works. I feel like what I just said is what people think they get to do. It's like, no, you get to like testing for NGB would be like go through this door 100 times and see if the game crashes. Like that's kind of what you'd be doing. It wouldn't be like, yeah, play this really fun bit all day. Like it wouldn't be that.
No, exactly.
But you look at the time limits on some of those fights, like the Berserker challenge is why, that zombie challenge can be left, because they give you, they gave you 120 Berserkers and thought, you're going to need an hour and a half to kill these. That challenge can be done in 20 minutes with the UF.
Yeah.
And I think, well, they clearly didn't know about that UF strategy. So, if they did, surely they wouldn't have given you
even go ahead, finish it. But even to for example, when I did my no damage on Master Ninja and I included I do it with the Dark Dragon Blade, and it's something like 42 minutes, I think. So
yeah,
definitely not an hour and 30 minutes as they put. That's a little crazy in terms of time, unless I don't know they were fighting with the wooden sword or something. I don't know, maybe.
Funnily enough, just on I don't know why I worked this out the other day, but I was looking into that because I did the wooden sword Berserkers on Descent of the Fiends 5. I think that would actually run the clock out if you did that.
Oh, that was their wooden sword that they tested. They didn't upgrade it to the unlabored flawless. This is how long would it take to do with the wooden sword?
But maybe I think they went safe like this just to make sure that people would get enough time, considering a lot of things can happen. I guess depend on how you play it. It really depends.
I don't know. You would have to get on a ledge, turn away so they couldn't shoot at you, and leave the game on for an hour or something for you to run out of time.
Yeah, I mean, you have a crazy. It's not just the Berserker challenge. I brought up the Archive challenge as well. I think they give you. Is it? I think it's 3,600 seconds for the Archive challenge. So what's that? That's an hour, isn't it? I think.
Wait, let's see.
Wow.
Yeah. So I mean, they give you an hour to do that. That challenge takes what, 7 minutes, with flail UTs, and what we were saying about is some of the stuff intentional. Did they see kind of how broken on landing UTs are, and think, oh man, maybe that's why they made enemies in NG2 the way in enemies in NG2 go after you during your on landing frames to try and think, oh, okay, well, if they're going to abuse on landing UTs, let's kind of make the enemies think, okay, he's landing from a jump, let's go get him, so he can't just jump around.
Not only that, how they can just riddle you with shuriken when you're doing actual UT. You see yourself getting stuck a million incendiary shuriken on you.
The mage is coming up from underground as you're finishing your UT.
But you see, I do appreciate though the design of NGB for that though, that when you do a UT, if for example you don't touch anything, you let the animation of Ryu shoot his weapon in his back, then you're vulnerable there. I like that. In Ninja Gaiden 2, when I was doing my no damage run back then, I don't know how many times I pretty much got fucked, because as soon as I finished a UT, I was getting hit instantly, and there was nothing I could do to avoid that,
Right, right. Well, didn't they say at the beginning, we were talking about, did they do it on purpose or not? I think they were proud to say, hey, only a few people will be able to beat Master Ninja. So throwing in all the other stuff, did they account for this or that? I don't think they did at all. They just wanted to account for it being as hard as they possibly could. And then, we'll just throw this time limit in because they're not going to beat it anyway. I mean, that could be, one of their thought process. Eventually give up, or we gave it so much time.
But that's
so they
true,
don't
though.
give up.
Look, I was talking about this recently because that I don't know if it was you that found that, JTB, because that's a little later in the cycle, but did you actually mess around and found that you can swim, and just take potion basically to do the swim of death in chapter 11, or did someone else find that?
I thought it was Kiori because he did a Master Ninja speed run.
Yeah, I think that was Kiori, because it's funny, speedrunning. I mean, speedrunning now is such a huge thing. And I remember Kiori did a very hard one and a Master Ninja one. And just no one cared. It's just, you know, it was
was a
really
shame.
kind of weird. Yeah, because I remember I watched his Master Ninja speedrun. And I was like, man, this is amazing. And I think his final time was, I think, in game, I think was 2 hours 24 minutes.
Damn, that's
In like
pretty good.
2000, in 2006,
Yeah,
you know, he did that.
That's
And he had
insane.
the original life bar. Like, you know, he didn't even bother upgrading his life bar. I don't think it was single segment, but
Well, he
you know,
ended
for
up
the
getting
time,
the
it's
UF
like,
too.
Yeah, but
Sorry?
even segmented, that's impressive. That time.
yeah, but like, you know, for the time, it was pretty nuts. And it's funny now because like now, now it's the opposite. Like no one cares about karma running, but
yeah.
like people like really want to learn the speed run.
Yeah.
And then like that's frustrating because I think like people only want to play normal. And I feel like it's good that like that's kind of a way for people to get into the game, but I think there's so much about this game. Normal is just not going to teach you.
Yeah, no, that's
You know,
100% true.
yeah, like you need to go up the difficulties a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, to
After
really
you
kind of
get the time you want, Godfather,
Yeah.
then do a Master Ninja speed run and
I
up
actually
it.
probably will, to be honest. I told the JTB about it. There's a good chance I do it. But why I was asking about the swim, so if you say it's Kiori, then that is pretty insane. But I'm saying this in a way that if Itagaki had known that this was a possibility, he would have made the whole fucking thing much longer, you know? The little labyrinth section where you go get the medallion, he would have made that longer to make sure that you had to go get the oxygen tank. And then the rest of the swim would also have been longer to make sure that you would have need the oxygen tank, and even if you use all your elixir, you would have run out, because that would have been the type of design that he would have been for, you know. When you
Yeah.
hear
Well,
that
also,
the ghost fish were supposed to be just there, you know, as an extra, and then he said, "Made them attack. I don't want anything that doesn't do nothing in my game," you know. So.
Yeah, and
Well-
it's funny that Ghostfish, man. This is going back a bit, but I remember because in NGO4, that kunai scroll that tells you to use the chucks like isn't there. That's not in there. And Al, I bet remembers these days, but every single day, pretty much on GameFAQs, like the top thread was always, "How do I fight Ghostfish?" or "How do I Zuna drop?" That was always like the top thread every day. Like someone would make a thread saying like, "How do I do this?" And yeah, I mean, you know, if you don't,
Shinobi are used to. He made a little fun video of him fighting Ghostfish with the True Dragon Sword, doing XY on landing XY on landing XY, and that's how he would fight him just for fun.
Yeah.
And it was pretty cool.
Like with
Because-
the round move when you land, right? The round move, kind of the round
Yeah,
shot.
on landing out.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
on landing XY would make that. Yeah, and
Yeah.
it was like, oh my god, we're having
That's
trouble
impressive.
fighting him with the, with the chucks. Well, he would fight. Well, back then in NGO4, you could fight Spirit Doku with the low health UF. You could fight Awakened Alma with the
Mhm.
low health UF. Just let her run at you and start your string before she got to you, and you could finish her out before she could do the damage on. I hate that those videos are.
You could
lost.
also hit her in the air too. Like you could just do jump in air XXX and
Yeah.
you know, like that.
That sounds pretty awesome.
I hate that they took that out. Like that's the only thing that kind of annoyed me about when I went back to HP1 was like how badly they actually nerfed the UF in that. Because I thought like I kind of see why they've done it, but I feel like the whole point of this is that you have to be, you know, at death's door to be able to use this. So it should be powerful.
Yeah, it's kind of like the high risk, high reward type of strat. I agree with that.
It's sort of like I know TGD will get this, but like it's like Royal Guard in Devil May Cry. Like new players don't use Royal Guard because it's not a beginner style. Like, you know, I'd say probably Trickster is probably like the style that's I would recommend that because it just makes dodging a lot easier.
Yeah,
But
yeah, for sure.
in NGB, like in NGO4, it's like, you know, that UF, if you really know the enemies, like that thing is just devastating. You know, there's not much in the game off the top of my head actually. On Master Ninja, the only regular enemy that can survive a UT is the purple zombie in a berserker. It literally kills everything else in the game in one hit.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of dumb.
Yeah,
you
almost
know,
almost killed bosses too in one hit, certain of them.
Yeah, yeah. It's only up until it's only on very hard, really. On hard, I think like most bosses, it's pretty much, you know, one string, one like XY XXXX, like there's not many bosses that can survive that,
And-
even on hard. So
And technically, also, like the lower your bar is, the more damage it will do, right? So if you have a
Yep.
sliver of health, we'll say 1%. That's the highest damage you can do, pretty much.
yeah, and it's so you have to be, and that's where what we were talking about just now with the speed runs. I have been looking at Master Ninja a little bit in kind of my break, just to kind of like break it down. And that run is stressful.
Ah,
Let me
yeah.
tell you.
I have no doubt, because it's pretty much always low health, right? So
Yeah. Once you get to chapter 10, that's pretty much it. Like that's all you're using, because and this is where I think it's going to be it's going to be funny, I think, if people pick it up, because you can block a laser from a crab fiend and you're dead. If you don't have a talisman, or you can get guard crushed and you're dead. Like, there's so many little things that can happen where you think, oh, this run's going really well. I'm dead.
Yeah, I'm
Like,
dead.
it's just,
Well,
Yes.
don't scare people off.
Oh, but they're already scared off, though. That's the thing.
Nobody
plays that
no one is
difficulty.
running Master Ninja.
Yeah. The only reason also I went on normal is because of that, is because it was the one with the most competition, But it's guaranteed that once I get a time that is satisfying to me on normal, I will get to it. Side note, by the way, that you mentioned, because Big Al, you don't get that, you never played those games, but now that you mentioned Royal Guard timing a little earlier, I talked to you about this on pretty much one of your last stream, I think, back then, and I asked you if the intercept was similar to the timing of Royal Guard, and you told me no, it's way more generous.
Oh, yeah, it's not even close.
But
Yeah.
what would you have think if the timing of the intercept was similar to a Royal Guard in Devil May Cry?
I would think I'd say that's totally fine, because and
Same.
I think probably it's funny because like most people don't play DMC, and the people that do don't use like Royal Guard. You hardly see it, especially in DMC3. I remember.
Yeah, because you told
I
me
don't know if
it's
you were-
tighter. No, I never played the third one. You told me it's a lot tighter than 4. Well, I know 5. I mean, they give you a lot of
Five's
room.
ridiculous.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
give you a lot of room. 4 was pretty tight, but yeah, the 3, it seems the one that's it's like what, 4 frame or something like this. It's a really...
I don't know the frames like, off the top of my head. I would have to look that up actually, but it's super tight. Like it's definitely low single digits, in terms of frames. But there was a couple of players back on the DMC3 era where Royal Guard was kind of the smoke bomb of DMC3. I was, oh, Royal Guard's kind of crap, whatever.
It's really fucking good, right?
Yeah, and then as soon as videos popped up of people doing like the parry release into Devil Trigger Explosion, and even on Dante Must Die cleaving off like entire boss health bars in one go, everyone else was like, maybe we should look into Royal Guard.
A little bit,
pretty good actually.
Especially too that it still fills a gauge, right? And DMC3 also, so it fills a gauge, and then the more you get, at some point when you do the release, you do way more damage.
I think it depends. My DMC memory is a bit fuzzy at this point. I think in DMC3 it depends on what attack you block.
Okay.
Because there are certain attacks that I think give you like half a pearl in like your DT gauge. And you have like Royal Guard. You have like 3 little dots in like the Royal Guard thing, and I think some give you like more than others. Like I can't remember exactly, to be honest, but. There is a set amount you can kind of charge up in terms of a release, and then you just do like the parry release, not the raw release, and then because Devil Trigger Explosion wasn't in 4. If anyone remembers that, on Devil May Cry 3, you could just hold in the like Devil Trigger button, and if you watch any like high level DMC, you'll probably see it, but you'll see the orbs start glowing red, and then if you let it go, it was just this kind of super quick attack. Nero's DM Devil Trigger animation in 4, TGD, where he kind of like explodes and it knocks people back.
Yeah.
There was kind of like that in 3, but there was no animation. It was just this like massive area of effect explosion.
Also
and
gives
it just
you
did a
iframe.
ton of damage.
Yeah, it gives you a little bit of iframe in 4 too.
There was no iframes. No, it was just kind of it was just kind of like the hitbox of Nero's, but like you didn't have the animation. So if you just held it and let go, you just exploded. Like, and then
would
everything
knock
around
back,
you
I
just
guess.
died pretty
Yeah,
much.
yeah.
Well, it was that's the thing. It was so powerful, it would just kill everything. Like if something wasn't DT'd, unless it was like an enemy that had a bit more health, like most enemies, it would if it was fully charged and they weren't devil triggered, like it would just kill them. So
But
I can kind of see why they took it out.
But to make the link overall, I think it would have been nice if intercept was with a timing like that, because in that way would have made it a lot more skillful, I think, and that would have been different. So that pretty much was the link that I wanted to make. Even though Big Al, you cannot again get that link, but it was a very tight timing overall. That's just
Yeah,
it.
because you could just stand there in one position and just kind of flick, and eventually you would get the intercept. But from what y'all are, it's almost like if
Yeah.
you missed, that was, that's it. You're kind of screwed up. Whereas at least with the intercept, you had a chance, maybe not on, all of the attacks, but like on bullets or, the cats trying to wring your neck or something, just by flicking the trigger, you could get that. So
Yeah.
I just
And I
hate
think
that
that's
it's not an option. Maybe
yeah,
make the game broken or something, but at least have it as an option. And it goes back to this collection that's coming out. That's just not an option anymore. The polished feel of Ninja Gaiden Black versus Sigma
It's
is
different.
not
I mean,
there.
Sigma is not bad. I've said it a lot of time. I mean, we can get into it later when we get to that place in the cycle. But it's just there's some stuff if you want that are a little bit better. But there's the animation, the backward roll, for instance, where you do that weird backflip and you can get hit during that animation. That was not the best change. But then, for example, jumping while shooting arrows. That was a nice little addition, because the aiming can feel a little stiff sometime in NGB. I don't know how many times I say nowadays, and back then it was not like that. That I think if they would put that game in a PC port, you would need like a sensitivity for your joystick when you ADS and all of that, because it's a default one and you just have to get used to it in NGB. So it's pretty much the game telling you get good with that sensitivity. If not, you're just stuck with that regardless.
Oh, well, I suck with the bow, so but NGO4 had the 2 levels of zoom. NGB only had the 1 level of zoom. I kind of like the 2 levels.
Yeah, me too. I like that.
But it's for you guys who are really good with it. I'm sure not having to pull that trigger twice, to zoom in helps a lot. But that closer feel of NGB versus just it being a little bit further out from the first level of NGO4, I preferred that a lot better for my
well, you see, I don't remember that because I told you I haven't played NGO4 back then enough to notice those changes. So I just got used to it, I guess, with NGB. And NGB, I mean, the camera is definitely not perfect. You gotta make it work for you, though. Talked about that.
Well, I think having the ability to rotate the camera, you didn't have that in NGO4.
Okay, so it was just the
No, you
recenter.
didn't.
It was just the recentering then.
Yeah, I think
Right.
I think this was in your stream. I think it might have been a couple of days ago. TGD, we were talking about that, and I mentioned I think that's where kind of players that played a lot of NGO4 probably had a bit of an advantage. Like if you got comfortable with the camera in NGO4, NGB's camera is like totally fine. You're like, yep, this is great. I can move this one. Whereas if you just come to NGB, like it is a bit awkward to get used to the camera. And then if you go back to NGO4 to where you can't even move it, I think like people would struggle a lot with that.
Yeah, you really had to learn how to play the game in a different way, especially like you said, if you came from NGB to 2004. Now, me, like whenever I would Zunu drop or UT, that's when I would use my other finger to rotate the camera, because you always wanted to use that to your advantage. I watch some players today who, even with that rotate ability, just don't either do it or can't do it or whatever.
It's-
But I think
Well, but some
learning.
people don't necessarily know though about the two modes. Some people don't know that if you press the trigger, you get either the first person view or you get the third person view. So there's a lot of time if you don't check, because if you press it and you just hear the what is it? The sound like like a little bit. Well, I mean, if you're not moving your joystick when you do that, you're thinking, what the fuck does that do? And then you press it again, and then you move the joystick and you go in first person, and you don't really understand, thinking, can I rotate it while I'm in third person? And that's
Yeah.
that's I think just a little bit of like ignorance towards the game, where you just have to learn about it, and once you know about it, well, you can work with it. That's one thing that I actually use in my speed run, where for example in chapter 14, on the labyrinth, I will do on landing jump with the fish, and then there's certain area where you see me correcting the camera every time, so I press the button to on landing jump, but I also tilt the joystick every now and then in a certain direction, so that I keep the rotation behind Ryu instead of recentering in certain places. And that's pretty tricky
You
to
have
get
the
used
skill
to.
to do that.
Yeah.
But it's there. And whenever I first started playing, going back to even arcade games, it was either a 2-way or a 4-way or maybe an 8-way joystick. So whenever I learned how to move in Ninja Gaiden, I would just, hey, if I'm jumping forward, I'm jumping forward. I'd have to stop to go left or right. That's the reason I'm not very good at that roll one way, jump the other, that y'all are so good at, and not to mention the on landing jumps. I think if new players today can understand that, I think they would have a lot more fun, playing the game and not get so frustrated at it. And now that I talk about it, why the hell did I keep playing this game if I can't move worth a shit?
No, but I think you still do it though. From what I've seen, you can still do the direction jump. It's just
a lot of
there's
it, to be honest with you, is I think accident.
yeah, but
You know,
I think some of the trickiest one though is the one that JTB mentioned, like the 45 angle, for instance.
Yeah.
Those
Yeah.
those are
They're the
the
trickiest ones.
those are the hard one, because the other one that just this you will say the quadrant, all the direction, left, right, forward, behind, those are all easy, but going, like, we'll say forward and then 45 angle forward again, that's tricky. And then going backward, same thing. If you go 45, as soon as you start putting angle in there. And side note, that's why I said I don't like the new controller for the Xbox One. I really prefer the Xbox 360 one, because the range of the joystick is just a lot better for NGB. I was gonna say for JTB, for NGB.
it's the same thing now.
Yeah, that's the same thing, right? But yeah, I just think the range is a lot better, and it gives you more precision when it comes to the 45 angle compared to the other one. Now I think are more compact, and the joystick is just not that good anymore. But sadly, they don't make a 360 controller anymore. So you might hear me complain about this a few times. Even you, Big Al, when you were saying sometimes when you add input drop, I think it's not the game. I think it was the Xbox One controller, because I sometimes have them where I'm pressing a button and I feel like the input just get lost, and that never used to happen when I was using the Xbox 360 controller. So I can definitely confirm that they're making the controller cheaper nowadays.
Yeah, I've gone on at length how much I hate the Xbox One pad.
There you go.
I cannot stand it.
Yeah.
It's like not just for the sticks, but it's just everything about it. I think it's annoying because they finally got the D-pad like spot on, but
Yeah.
like, everything else about it is worse.
Yeah.
It's so annoying.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, the D-pad of the newest one, right? Yeah, because
the D-pad on the Xbox One's fantastic, but
Yeah.
it's I don't like the triggers, I don't like the bumpers, the face buttons, the sticks. It literally everything else about it. I think, damn it! You could have just if there was ever a generation for them to just the 360 pad, like, yeah, we're not changing it because it's fine.
Yeah, no,
But,
they should have. Yeah, they should have left it. And I think though that's on a different subject, but I think the controller in general have been made a lot cheaper, because back then, NES controller and such, they were tank, and that used to last freaking forever, and you could press on the button a billion times and it would still work. And nowadays, they tested controller, for example, PlayStation 5, and it's roughly 400 hour of COD. That's the life of a controller.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I haven't used my PS5 that much because there's just been. I got my PS5 basically just like I got a pre-order. I was like, oh, cool, that's nice.
And you got lucky now that you realize it.
I wasn't
all that
expecting.
time.
Yeah, I totally wasn't expecting to get one. But I haven't really used it that much since I stopped playing Cold War. So yeah, like hearing the stuff about the pad, I'm thinking, oh, that's Because I mean, they're like 70 quid or something. I think.
Yeah, they're very
those,
expensive.
they're
Very
those
expensive.
PS5 controllers. And controllers are, I mean, not to get off topic, but like controllers are like kind of dumb, like how much they cost. It's
Totally agree.
They're so expensive. So.
And they made really cheap. You know, they make them with really cheap parts, so they're making a huge profit on that too. But to go back on NGB, thing I was thinking about actually is that because we were talking about the first speed run of the strat, you know, and you said Kiori had done a master ninja run. Back then, did he had showed also? Is he the one that found the one from the skip in the blue room, red room? You know, where you could do the cancel of the incendiary shuriken, or it's someone else that had found that back in the day?
I think he found the blue room, red room. He found the stadium skip.
So going on top of the stadium, he also found that to skip the entire puzzle.
Yeah, he really revolutionized what you could do with the shurikens and the Y move.
There's a lot of stuff that is it's probably easier to name the shortcuts he didn't find.
So let's see though the shortcut we can think of real quick though that are straight up movement at the beginning of the game to see if you remember if he was the one. So you know, we have the one chapter 2 to go over the bridge when we encounter the first 2 samurai, I guess, and the mage down there.
See, I don't remember, and I tell you, if I hope people, you know, stick through all of this stuff. But there's a guy on my channel. If you go to my Bigalski X YouTube, no plug here. This is about
but you can do plug, all right, Big Al, no problem with me. Go ahead.
Well, I'm just saying, you know, because I have some of the Ninja Gaiden players back from the day on there. So if you look, there's a guy. His name is X Factor Hates You. You know, and you can find him.
I remember him.
Yeah, and well, he never played. He was like a lurker. But one of the things that he would do is he would come home and he would download a lot of the videos, because again, this was before they were all up on YouTube, from Iberian Warriors site. Because, you know, Brian hosted a lot of videos before YouTube.
Yep.
So he kept a lot of those, and when IWs went down, he was able to upload on his YouTube channel that he had a lot of these videos, and he does have some of the Kiori videos up there. And he also has videos from like Trent Steele. And that's a guy that, if people didn't know, he was awesome. You know,
one of the best for my money. I think he wasn't a big karma runner, but I think him and I say that, but like he had the very hard record for a while. I think him and Razor Ramon, I think, are probably two of the most.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. That is Awaken Alma fight, bro, and his Eternal Legend and all. Very good player.
Miche as well, I think. But like, and it's funny enough. Like, this is funny enough what got me into karma running, really, because in the early days, there wasn't a whole lot in terms of just kind of combat. In terms of like combat challenge, it was all about score. So that's kind of what made me like look into karma running. But the players that I kind of watched the most of originally were players like, you know, Trent Steele and Razor Ramon, Pasaran, and just their movement and combat was what I thought, man, like I want to be able to play like that. You know, it wasn't really the score like application of it. It was just, you know, they're just doing these bosses like so easily. You know, I want to be that good. You know.
Side note, who found the ground combo on Awaken Alma? You know, like the charge into the ace straight. Oh, that was
Jory.
That was Jory.
I remember his video. I still remember the video. I think his video was titled, Ninja Gaiden Black, a method for because he was Chinese, I think. So one thing that always used to make me laugh on the forum, he would always post like in near perfect English, but every single one of his posts always ended with "Sorry, my English very poor." And it's like that's the only mistake in your entire post. Like, your English is fine, man. But yeah, that's what his video was called, like a method for dealing with awakened Alma. And I remember watching that and thinking, holy, like, and then immediately trying it and thinking, damn, this works. Like, this is amazing.
Yeah, right. I was wondering because that string, in my opinion, is legendary. You know.
Otherwise, it'd just be Flying Swallow and Hope.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
Yeah.
you can Inazuma her down, but
But
I think the Inazuma, if she doesn't land close to you, you're only going to get a flying swallow, so it's not a lot of
If
damage.
that,
you
yeah.
saw that in my speed run,
Yeah.
the re-knock down. I don't know if anyone had found that back in the day, because I've never seen anyone do it before. You know, do you know what
Oh,
I
the
mean?
little rotate while
Yeah,
she's
yeah,
getting up.
yeah, re-knock
Oh
down.
yeah, I think I don't know who I can't think of who to credit with that, but I know I've known about that for a while. It's just and Al, this is funny. This is something Al always brings up. He always tells me, like, especially in the early days, was like, you should make more videos for like
Yeah,
for
but
stuff
that's
that I
why
know.
we don't remember all of
Yeah.
those, because I never seen anyone do
Yeah.
it in a video before, because if there was someone that did it, that video got lost. Because I
Yeah.
was messing around in when I was doing like a Master Ninja, I think, back then, and I noticed I did it randomly, because sometimes I did that just for fun. I did random stuff,
Mhm.
and then I knock her down again, and I was really surprised that you could
Yeah.
possibly hit her with that, you know.
You can use XY too. Sometimes, like you can do XY, and that'll knock it. Like, 'cause you know how she gets knocked down a little bit, and then you have to flying swallow her again to like kind of knock
Yeah.
her down properly. Yeah, you can use XY on it too, and that's one of the things with Awakened Alma with, you know, like going back to the speedruns. Like, she's a boss. Like, even on normal, she can just burn like 30 seconds, and there's just nothing you can do. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's super annoying.
If she wants to,
Yep.
she can just ruin your run. But that's crazy. So, okay, so a lot of those strat, then Kiori again for Awaken Alma. Then let me think about Skip. So,
Well, before you think about the skips, there's a couple other people that I want to
go ahead.
acknowledge. And
Go ahead.
one was, it was actually a girl who got in it, and people weren't sure at first, but she ended up. Well, she showed a picture, and I don't know. I mean, it could have been anybody, I guess. But her name was Tatoshka,
Yeah,
and she was the first one, I think, in chapter 7 on like hard and above to UT the ghost fish, and that
that's true.
wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was something to, like, oh my God, we didn't know that that you could do that. And the other part of it was, wow, and a girl found this. Oh my God. And I'm not trying to be sexist in any way. It was just amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, and again, going back to, this was 2004 as well.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly. That's what I was gonna say. Put that
Yeah,
in
you know.
perspective. Come on.
Yeah,
Different
I think,
era.
like now, yeah, like now it's not that big of a deal, but back then, yeah, girls didn't play video games.
Oh,
Like, yeah,
for a
come
girl to
on.
play something like Ninja Gaiden Black.
Exactly, yeah.
Shelly would play, Halo with me or Gears of War with the guys or something, but she never really got into Ninja Gaiden. I guess she had a bad teacher.
Ah, you're a bad teacher, Miguel. But side note though, I saw recently. I don't know if you ever seen her on, but there's Gala that's been speedrunning NGB actually on normal any percent, and
Yeah, I
she's-
checked out her stream a couple of times. I
Yeah.
think she's Australian, so
Yeah.
like the time difference. Like,
yeah, I
pretty much
can
only ever
almost
watch at
never
the
watch
weekend.
it because of that. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so late for me. But when I can catch the stream, I'm pretty much always there, and she's been doing good progress. Good player.
Yeah.
Good job.
Oh yeah.
So,
yeah.
but that's why it's way different nowadays. But back in 2004, bro, that's pretty crazy. But so she had found that you can UT the ghost fish. I'm still thinking about some of the skip, by the way, Big Al, right now. Actually, maybe it's not that huge of a skip, you will say, but just falling, after the corridor of doom. Well, first of all, now that I think on top of it, JTB, you found on landing jump or someone else did?
I mean, maybe I don't know. Like, I feel like
I feel
I know,
you did.
Bookworm.
Well, I mean,
was
it's
really
one of those
good with
things like,
Bookworm too, back in the day. Bookworm.
Yeah, but it's one of
take
those.
the credit.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, it was totally. It's one of those things where, like, I've always, because I mean, this comes up in a lot of the videos me and Al do, where like he'll say something and it's something I know about, but I don't really think about, oh yeah, that's a thing you can do, sort of thing. Like on landing jump is a thing that I've done for so long. It's like I don't think of it as like a thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I can't remember seeing it kind of before I started doing it on video. But again, I don't know. Like there could be something out there.
Because I didn't know for the longest time until I watched your video. When I did my first no damage run back in the day, the one in 2009, I did not know about on landing jump until I pretty much started like being close to
Oh, okay.
speedrunning the game. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've watched your movement tutorial and then I learned about it, but I did not know about this in the past. So to me,
feel like what
I saw that from you.
Yeah, I feel like what maybe like got a lot of people to notice that was that you can just jump through Ghostfish doing that, and you don't even have to do like windmill slash, like air destruction slash, which is in air X with the dragon sword.
Yeah, yeah.
You can just on landing jump, through Ghostfish entirely. So
Yeah, no, it's
maybe that's what
amazing.
made more people like take note of that.
Yeah, and also in the corridor of doom, you can hit the spike
Yeah,
and
you
then
can just
and keep jumping. So the skip I was thinking of is right after the corridor of doom. When we'll say you grab the chest or there's a save on top. I don't know who found that you could jump an angle down, even if it might not be what you call a huge skip. It's still a skip to me because you don't go through the regular path.
Well, Fiore.
It was probably people dying.
Kiori, people die.
It really was. In his Master Ninja Karma run,
He did that.
he showed.
He landed there from UT, right? That's when
he killed the bats
Yeah.
and do an on-landing UT landing there. Yeah, that guy showed the hiding spots of the crabs there right by the gate.
Oh yeah, so many sweet spots. Yeah,
he showed a lot of. I mean, the guy was just.
I mean, who
really
found the
took that.
rat? The killing the rat. That's insane. He found the rat?
I think he it was either him or Platinum.
Yeah, I remember seeing that in Platinum's Very Hard run, and that did predate his Master Ninja run. So I think that was the first time I saw people killing the rat.
So that was probably Platinum. Wow, that's because the rat. That's insane.
Yeah, I mean, the rat is. I mean, you think how different chapters 4 and 5 would play for Karma if you couldn't kill the rats.
Yeah.
It'd be.
There's
be
no
totally
crow
different.
there.
Yeah.
Well, people started doing that with on killing the crows in Hurricane Pack 2. Going up to the top, UT and the crows or killing that instead of just trying to come in. How people do it now. It's what Eternal Legend Phase 5.
Yeah.
I mean, all that stuff. That one little thing. Oh well, if I kill the rat here and they give me a blue, maybe that's what led to, the guy killing the crow in chapter
1. Yeah, I don't know who was that either. Do you know who found that? Because I know the second one it was Balbade, because back then he's the one that showed it in his new run, But
so was it him who figured out how to get it to respawn?
I think it was, because he's the one that used it at first. Like, I don't know if I don't think I was the one that found that, to be honest, because I think I already knew about it when I started doing my run. So I definitely would not take credit for that. I think it's him that found out that you could respawn if you went all the way back there.
I think I still have his videos. I'll have to check. I think the first crow I'm willing to bet is people just messing up the jump and air destruction slashing. Because I know that's how I found out you could kill the crow early on. Like, I just jumped and missed it and pressed X.
and then
the air destruction slash kills the crow.
And then you notice it dropped a blue. Yeah.
You can that's kind of cool.
You can change that. One, actually, a good skip. Warehouse skip.
Oh, that was me, actually.
You found it?
Which one? Which one?
Yeah.
Well, the warehouse skip, the one where you skip the platform,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Which one?
Chapter. Well, the one, not the one from the wagon with the scarab, because that one is the harder version. I don't know who found that one, but
I want to say that was. I'm pretty sure that was Pokey who found that one. I found the other one.
Pokey, I remember, good old player too. Yeah, he was really good at Devil May Cry too. Also,
yeah,
great
he was a
DMC3
pioneer as well.
Yeah.
And he found there's this great little video of his that I don't have anymore, unfortunately, but in chapter 4 where you go to where the blue wire is and there's that grenadier, if you get a certain spawn pattern, you can actually wall run off the right hand side and flying swallow over to him and hit him if he's close enough.
Oh wow.
I always remember thinking man, could you potentially use that on a Karma run to get an extra UT out of that fight? But
that sounds insane.
I mean, even Kel didn't do that, so I'm guessing he probably tried it. But
that would be crazy, wouldn't it? Wow.
Yeah, that sounds pretty nuts, actually.
Yeah.
Should try to get that on video.
That'd be something to recreate.
Yeah, because that would be
cool.
That would be insane. Yeah. Okay, so you found that one. But what did you mess around just for fun? Were you just like?
I think I was trying the one that Pokey found, and I think this was because this was going back to, I think that was when he was doing a calm run as well.
Okay. Yeah.
I just thought, there's so many platforms in here. Like, is there another way of doing this? Because that one on the Scarab one is really good, but it is so hard to do.
Yeah.
Like,
so
to get that
hard.
10 out of 10 times it's really tricky. Whereas that other one, as long as you kind of don't think about it too much, it's one of those things where if you think about it, and if you think, oh, don't mess this up, you'll mess it up. Whereas if you just do it, like you'll get it every
what
time.
I noticed actually very recently for how consistent that is that if the real thing that can fuck you up is that when you know how to delay your X, you're always good. You're gonna delay it at the right time. The real problem I noticed where you can mess it up is if you cancel out the animation of the shuriken too quick into the Y. So you kind of have to let the animation from the shuriken throw not fully play out, but just initiate if you want, so that you get that extra distance. Because if you press BY too quick, that's where it drops off, and you will not be able to land on the platform pretty much, because the key is the delay of the X for the distance. The rest after, it's just natural. But yeah, that's a really cool shortcut. Actually, it does help the run quite a bit.
There was another one for Chapter 9 before I think people just found out arrows were kickable. It was one Edge showed, if anyone remembers Edge. It was Edge AOM.
Yeah, Edge. He did some insane run. He did the No Earth Giant of the Underworld back then, I remember.
Yeah. Yeah, Edge was a phenomenal player.
Yeah, some nice wooden sword videos too.
Yeah.
He had this he had a shortcut for Chapter 9, I think. He would just double incendiary the two turret guys. And it was one of those things that, like, you saw it and think, wow, that's really cool. That's super quick, but it's one of those weird things where, like, if you go and actually time it, it's a little bit slower than just shooting them.
Yeah,
but it just looks really cool. So you think, oh, that's cool. That's got to be quicker, but it's not.
It's not, no.
Unfortunately.
So wait, let me think. Well, I mean, you did say Chapter 11, the platform after. Well, it's more Chapter 12 beginning. The platform. Yep. I don't know though who found the okay, because there's two that are kind of weird. So you have the one, and so where there's the shop where you put the cog in for the fireworm.
Yep.
Okay, that area. When you wall run there, on the side to get inside that other area where there's the platform lifting up and down, who found the one on the side wall there where you have to put the ore in the furnace?
I think that's new. Or, I mean, and whenever I say new,
you think it's new from like Speedrun? Yeah, but the one basically JTB, as soon as you get in, if you like roll and wall run straight to the left of that area from that perspective, but to the right where you enter, you can pretty much just shuriken cancel and Y, and then you can skip the area where there's usually bat, or on higher difficulty you have the ghost fish, and then you can straight up put
that one. I know. Yeah. Oh yeah, I know what you mean now.
Yeah.
I think that is new. Yeah, I don't think that's well. If it's not, no one showed it on video.
And then there's the other one where same area where you come back where I told you there's the shop. Where there's the fireworm where you do that weird wall run on the side there. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, I have no idea. I'm trying to remember where I first saw that, actually, now that you mention it.
Because those are weird. Those are weird one, I think. Those are...
Yeah, they are weird. Man, that's bugging me, yeah. I can't remember. If anyone can, like, pinpoint, like, the first time that was shown, like, that'd be cool, but I can't remember that one.
And then there's the last cool one I sent you, Bigal, you saw it, Ice Cavern Skip.
Right, yeah.
That one is really cool, but I know that one is very recent, because I know I had done it back in the day, but I didn't know how, and I never redid it until I saw, I think it was Loner Hero that redid that for me when I was speedrunning, and then I tried it, and I managed to do it a few times. The thing that is weird on that shortcut is that you have to wall run an angle, and then you have to do 2 quick jump in succession, but on this, after the second one, you have to go neutral on the joystick to wall cling and be able to do like the jump after into the BY cancel, So that's why it's kind of weird, because usually you're just gonna keep holding your joystick forward in one direction so you don't wall cling. But in this one, you want to wall cling at the end of the chain of jumps so that you'll be able to get that extra height. But it's a weird one.
Well, I think
Yeah.
there was a few people that tried to take it to the next level after Ninja Gaiden Black came out, and maybe we're not ready to get to Sigma yet. But I think Hammer Farai found a couple of shortcuts, and I would think that the one that you're talking about in NGB, where you're going back across in chapter 12, I thought that was him who found that out. And again, I could be wrong. And I do want to preface all of this stuff. Back when we had the community, and there was a lot of people that were going to Iberian site. In fact, I heard, because of how we picked apart Ninja Gaiden Black, especially on Master Ninja, that people from Tecmo would actually go to the site to see what we were doing. And I don't know if that's true or not, but with how Ninja Gaiden 2 turned out, it could have been
Yeah.
possible.
Hey, side note,
You know.
by the way, totally unrelated, but I wanted to let you guys know, if you didn't know, but I actually got followed by a Team Ninja official on Twitter.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's cool.
They actually, yeah,
That's really cool. Congratulations.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe maybe who knows? Maybe I'll try to get an early copy of the Master Collection for review or something. That would be pretty nice. But it's just nice, to get noticed if you want after all those years, because I've been kind of pushing that game nonstop, and I made a lot of people play that game. By the way, you might not know, but there's a lot of people that come on my channel and that played that game and that really enjoyed it. There's one of my friends also in there that actually did a no heal run on his first Master Ninja run because he really enjoyed it, and he wanted to push for a challenge. Yeah. So I got a lot of people into playing that game, actually. And also, now that I think on that, another shortcut that I skipped, because I mean there's the one in the Pazu area. On top, instead of going all the way around, like where you can just go under that kind of thing if you delay air destruction slash in the air. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, that was pokey too.
Okay, nice. Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, because that
one, I feel like that one's a lot older than people realize.
Yeah, it's an old one. But I actually don't even do it, by the way, in my run, because it's too risky to lose time. Actually, it's not worth it's not worth the few seconds save, because if you fall down, exactly, you lose way more. So.
Off the top of my head, I've not timed it side by side, but I think you probably only save probably 5 seconds, maybe. But if you mess it up, you probably burn like 20, getting back up. And,
easily. And then if you try it again and you miss it again,
your run's dead pretty much. Yeah.
Other strat that I'm thinking, if we're going in progression of the game of chapter, so basically, you had the Awakened Alma who talked about, and then Spirit Doku, who found the strat where if he does his shoulder thing, you can just wait for him and Gleaming Blade instantly when he runs towards you.
Good question.
I don't know. That's the thing, though. A lot of these videos they're long gone.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. And it's hard to remember. We remember some of the stuff. And the other thing that I wanted to finish up saying real quick is, when everybody was on the forum, a lot of people, gave their feedback and input, but only certain people could make videos at the time to show it, or had the skill to even try it.
Yeah.
So, for people who listen to this maybe for the first time, don't take as gospel, everything that we credit.
Yeah.
Right now we're just doing the best we can on our memory. But I will say, the Platinum, the Tatoshka, the Kiori,
those are all pretty much accurate.
Right.
Yeah.
But as far as other people, at the end of the day, whoever gets the credit to me is, hey, that's great, but it's out there for everybody to share and learn from.
Yeah.
And I've always been more about that than anything else when it comes to this game. Maybe not other games, but for this game.
Yeah. Totally agree.
Yeah, I think in this game as well. I know I mentioned this a while back on stream, and it's one of those games that's in this day and age, I feel like you don't get many games like NG, but it's a hard game to get into. Even if you're someone who kind of plays a lot of games, like if you pick up NG like with no prior knowledge and just you know nothing about the game, unless you play a lot of action games, and I think like fighting game experience definitely helps as well. It's like your first time through is not going to be pretty. It's one of those games where people love to compare it to DMC, which it's so annoying because it's just they're so different.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you're someone who plays a lot of DMC and then you go into NG thinking, oh, I've heard this game's like Devil May Cry.
Another one I don't like a compare though is the Dark Soul compare.
That makes even less sense.
I'm not a huge fan of that when people are saying, bro, it's the Dark Soul of games, because that game was there before Dark Soul, guys. I don't know if people realize that. I just think Dark Soul took all the place as a franchise because of the weaker version later of NG, I guess, that got released, But
that too, but I feel like just the way stuff has changed has a factor in that. If NG if NG came out, when Dark Souls kind of hit its peak, I feel like just as many people would have got into NG for the same reason. Just NG came out. NG's an old game. People look at NG and they're like, oh, it's an old game.
It aged so well. This game is like a fine wine, It keeps
100%.
It keeps getting better and better and better. I mean, it's not for everyone, There's the people that are gonna play that game, complete it, move on to another game, and that's fine. But
like
Ragnarok, that's a good example. But this game, I don't know. To me, it just has that thing that's magical that keeps you coming back when you want to keep improving in that game, If not, if it's not for you, well, it's all right. You play it, you finish it, you might just be happy that you completed it, and there's nothing wrong with that. But this game is there's just something for me anyway that just wants to make me come back nonstop, and I can never get really burned out of that game for me anyway, because it's always something new.
That's also underrated about this, and it's not in terms of gameplay, but just how it looks.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not a game from that age. To me, you tell me this game, I say it was released in 2015, 2016. That's what it looks like to me in terms of graphic. Seriously.
Yeah, it's an amazing.
I think a lot of that as well is just the game in motion. I think there's stuff like you go back and play, especially if you go back and play an older Devil May Cry. I've recently played through DMC1 again.
Yeah.
And while that game is still really cool,
it didn't age
well. It does look old.
Yeah.
It looks pretty dated. You're like, it can kind of, this isn't that great to look at anymore. Whereas like NGB, and the day will come where I think even NGB, you'll look at it and think, it's not that great. But it hasn't. I don't think it's happened yet.
It's gonna take quite a while, I think.
Yeah.
Especially, I'm not gonna lie though, JTB, it might last longer than you think, because games in recent years have not been at their strongest with their releases in terms of how good the game is. So
don't get me started on that.
That's for another conversation. But I mean, we could start on another tangent right there with that. Yeah. But
one thing that worries me about the Master Collection, people are worried about, it's not this game. I'm thinking, let's just hope it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, exactly.
So, we'll see.
And then another one I'm thinking of that's different, but who you think, or do you remember who found the Marbus Loop? Because that's kind of a big one, right?
That was Fat Man, I believe. I'm pretty sure that was Fat Man.
That was Fat Man.
That's another one that I think is way older than people realize, because it's funny how and this is something again that me and Al, this is like a road trip conversation, but it's one thing that I think early on, like the brute force focus on score, I feel like kind of hindered a lot of the game's progression, because so much of it was about, well, is this applicable for score? And if not, a lot of people didn't really care. And with the Marbus loop, that was because the idea is like, well, if you play Marbus for score, you want to do the Marbus marathon, so why bother looping him? So even though when that was like shown, it was really cool, but unfortunately, like not a lot of people really cared. They're like, oh, you can loop him, that's great, but why would you do that on a karma run? So, it kind of just fell by the wayside a bit, unfortunately.
Yeah, and then now today, it's like it's something that we use in speedrun, and it's really, really useful, So
Yeah,
it's-
exactly.
it's-
I think. I mean, that said, though, like on the higher modes, like
yeah, you need the UF
not,
pretty much.
not so much. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
I think that's something where I think it'll be like, and that's where I think what we were talking about earlier. Whereas if you only learn to kill Marbus with that loop,
Yeah, you're gonna have
on very hard, for
yeah.
example, you don't have Inazuma.
Yeah.
Like Inazuma on very hard, I think's 40 scarabs or something. And it's just not really feasible to get 40 scarabs. You know what I mean? You just don't really need that many.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 40 scarabs.
Speed
So
run, right? Speed run. What you're
yeah, so when you start running, if people start running very hard, they're gonna have to know how to fight Marbus. And if you've only ever speedrun on normal, like you might not have like that knowledge.
Yeah, no, and it will be definitely a trick here. And then the last one that I'm thinking of real quick is the one after, I guess, the tree branch on chapter 16, the going up, the wall run. That's a short
I
one,
remember
but
Kiori did that one.
okay, Kiori did
Yeah,
that one
I
too.
was gonna say Curie or Pokey. I think was the first. I remember seeing that one.
Have you guys ever seen it? Because I showed it on stream, that I'm not sure if you were there. Have you guys ever seen the Emperor 2 quick kill with the AFS whatever arrow, where you can actually kill him really quick without getting into his face, where he even goes for like his bite? Have you ever seen that?
No, I have.
Yeah, I think you showed. I think you sent that to me. I think I've seen that. Yeah.
You've seen that, right? That's
Yeah.
What is it exactly?
well, so sometimes there's a dude at some point that did not have explosive arrow, and I've seen it done from 3 different people, okay? And they switch to the AFS arrow against the Emperor, but then they start shooting, and at some point it seems that the skull line up in a point, and his entire life bar goes down instantly. So instead of taking, we'll say, like 40 seconds to a minute to kill him, it takes 15 seconds and he's dead.
Well, remember that one video we did, JTB, and I think it was on your Hurricane Pack one, where you shot one core arrow and it did like half or a quarter damage or something, and we were so surprised at that.
Yeah, there is a weird. The only thing I can kind of surmise from that is the tank shell arrows, the APFS cores. They have an enormous hitbox. When you actually fire them.
Yeah.
If you test that on like man-sized enemies, like you can basically miss them, and like, but you'll still hit them. You know what I mean? Like the arrow will still connect. So the
Not
only
on
thing
my
I can
screen.
think of. But yeah, the only thing I can think of with the Emperor 2 is that if you imagine his bear with me for a second, but if you imagine his skulls as like a bunch of grapes,
Yeah.
like if you picture that in your head, if you get like a perfect angle, you could maybe hit like almost like half of his skulls with one arrow. But because it's traveling through his whole body, you'll hit the skulls, you'll hit his body, and you'll hit the skulls behind him, and you might even connect on skulls like respawning or even above him. It's one of those weird things where like I'd love to see like a visual representation of that hitbox, because it's the only thing that really makes any sense.
Yeah. Because that's weird, and I've seen it a few times, and I don't really go for it, because from what I've seen is just total RNG, But yeah, I mean it's still cool to know that that it's there, I guess. And wait, let me check. I was trying to find actually the clip for it at the same time, now that you were mentioning it, so I could show you, Bigal, if I can find it. But after that, like in term of run and people that were doing karma, you had like Petrask also that we saw earlier in the.
Mhm.
And when did he came in? Did he like bring anything in terms of karma? I think he was really good at the worm in Abysmal Lair. I'm not sure. He kept the world record for a really long time. So
he made some mission mode videos too, way back in the day. And I remember he was there from pretty much day one. I remember I remember he was in the mission mode high score thread, which on the old forum dated all the way back to people breaking like 35 million, from
Boy, that's a
that's
shame
how
that
old
was
it was.
lost.
Yeah,
Next
Yeah,
time,
so,
next
and all
time
that
we
is
talk,
lost.
we're going to talk a little bit about that, just so people get an understanding of what it used to be before Twitch and YouTube and
yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
all that stuff. But that's a topic for another time.
Yeah, I think with regards to the forum, that's the thing that kind of stings, because I remember, every now and then, like, I just log on, and this was in the days when forums were just, forums were a lot more popular. Like, forums aren't that popular anymore, but there'd be tons of people on, and you could just kind of go in like the social thread and just chill, and then. I always used to read that mission mode high score thread every now and then, just for kind of a trip down memory lane. You'd figure out like, oh, this was when this strategy was found, and you remember before, whoever found the zombie farming in Eternal Legend, you're kind of an amazing person, but you're also the worst person ever.
Yeah.
Now that's a thing that people have to do.
Yeah, my God. And
In
that's
that
why, by the
video.
way, I have not reached 50 million yet in mission mode, because I started that, and there's a lot of mission I didn't farm, so I'm stuck at like 42 or 43 for now until I get around to farming that, and that kind of got paused, when I started speedrunning and when I reached phase 3 in Eternal Legend. So I did phase 1 and 2, and then when I reached phase 3 and I knew it was the zombie, I was just thinking, it's time to take a little break from that. I found the clip for the Emperor, by the way, Big Al, if you want me to show you.
Oh,
So you see on the screen here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, right now it's Okay, there we go. Okay. So I don't know if people see this. Will this show up that you're showing this to me? And
It will not. It will not. It will not. But because I'm not sharing the screen there. But
oh, okay. Well, this is just one of the speed strats that he was talking about. That fire wheel's canceled.
See? There you go.
Oh wow. Wait. Wow, that was.
Look, do you see the live
Wow.
bar?
Okay. Yeah, that's.
There you go.
Wow. I need to
Great.
put that in my program and separate it frame by frame to see.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah, looking at that, it's kind of hard to think, like, what happened.
That wasn't. Yeah,
Yeah.
JTB killed. It was like half. I mean, excuse me, a little over a quarter.
Yeah,
of his
this one,
life
you
bar
see
that
how
was
high
up.
his
That
live
was
bar was.
75%.
Yeah, 75%. The entire bar.
Yeah, I would not rely on that. I mean, take it to, like you said, RNG or whatever you youngsters call all that luck. I call it luck.
Side note, I can show you a string here. That's wait, I'll show you a string, guys, of myself that I found on Schmogan recently when I was doing it. Here, I'll put no sound, but you guys can see it. Okay.
Oh, we can see her. Yeah.
Check. Look at this beautiful face. I'm just joking.
What? You or you? Wow, that was nice that it launched him all the way out to that point. But I remember doing that a long time ago with the. Yeah, that's nice.
No menu or anything, and as for Pazu, because I was mentioning it earlier, when I'll open it, I'll show you one of my best that I got so far. It was something like this. One thing also that I want to say here, and I don't know if you guys knew about that. Maybe you did, JTB, Big Al. I'm not sure you will know that, but did you know that to hit his head with the incendiary shuriken when he's standing up, you actually have to aim backward with your joystick? So you have to aim down with your joystick when you're throwing the incendiary shuriken, so that they go to his head like that. So that's pretty much.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like you have to hold it down for it to aim up. And I didn't know that for the longest time, because when he's on the ground, it automatically goes to his head, But when he's standing up, it will not work. If you're just not touching anything, or if you're pressing up, you will pretty much always throw it at his feet. And that's something that actually made quite a bit of difference in how quick we kill him. But it's still the randomness, that I told you guys earlier, where sometimes you will not reach that stun, and he will pretty
He'll
much
take
just
off to the other
yeah,
side.
he will pretty much just take off on the other side. So there's another name that I see there that I know that contributed on GameFAQ because I remember his essence was Yebiosh, you know, and
Yebyosh?
Mhm.
yeah, Yebiosh or Yebiosh, I don't know.
That's
That's
what I
my
call him,
pronunciation
Yebiosh.
with French, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know he did like a essence fact back in the day that was pretty detailed, you know, with the amount for benediction and all of that. I'm not sure if that got corrected by you later, JTB, if there was a little bit of discrepancy here
It
and
was
there.
me. Well, yeah, I first started looking into it because of HP1, because there wasn't, for anyone that doesn't remember or doesn't know, NGB and NGO4 and like thus HP1 have like a very different essence system in terms of how the essence spawns. So in NGB, you just get one orb, like when you kill an enemy, but that one orb has a limit of how much it can hold. Whereas in NGO4 and HP1, a single orb could hold 700 essence. So if you killed an enemy that was worth more, they just dropped another orb with that remaining money with it. You know, if you killed one for 800, there'd be one 700 orb and one that was worth 100. And then when I was like really looking into Karma and in HP1, like I thought this actually isn't out there with like these breakdowns. So, but then War Phoenix like went into it like even further, and like he did a lot of testing for that guide. I don't know if the one on Game of FAQs is updated. It probably isn't because I'm
No.
guessing
No,
No,
it's
Yeah,
his
it
email
doesn't
doesn't
update it.
work either, apparently.
Yeah.
I think Weeble said he tried to email him and that email doesn't.
Yeah, that
Oh,
doesn't
okay.
work anymore.
But yeah, War Phoenix was the one who like really like ironed
Pushed
that
it.
out.
That's cool.
Yeah, because he tested all the stuff I just couldn't be bothered to. be honest.
Well, that's nice though, right?
Yeah, like he messaged about some of the stuff with benediction and that, and I said, yeah, like I kind of tested as much as I needed to for the run. Like I don't really like I don't really have the patience to do like the crazy stuff anymore.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
So
it's
yeah, like
understandable.
huge shout out to him, yeah, because that stuff all really factors in. And it once you know all that essence stuff, it's one of the things that you only really notice if you play for score, I guess, because when you play normally, like
You don't pay
like,
attention to that.
yeah, there are still people that like don't realize that you get more money for UT kills sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you get way more money. So
That was one of the big arguments that I had in the day. I wasn't always as nice back in the day as I am now. I would, if somebody called out some BS, I would call it back.
Crush him.
Instead of just letting it go. But when we found out the scoring system, and I remember we figured it out that it was always going to end in a 0 once we knew all the times and the kills, and then somebody would come up and say, "Oh, I got 675,211 on chapter 1," or we'd be like, "Bullshit. That means you missed a kill or missed a time, and you lose 50,000 points." So I mean, what really happened? And then the guy's like, "Oh well, we caught him out, cheating and everything like that."
Yeah.
They get exposed, bro.
Oh yeah, and we figured all that stuff out, and that was the thing about the community. It's we welcomed everybody, but don't try to trick us. I mean, that was insulting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
By the way,
and-
you mentioned someone earlier that I don't want to forget because I really don't think, to be honest, maybe JTB, you will disagree with me. I don't think so. But there's one score, I think, in the mission mode that I'm checking right now that I don't think will be beaten by anyone, and I'd be really surprised if someone does it. But it's really the captivating goddess, bro, from Ryu Hayabusa 3. That guy was a fucking magician with Awakened Alma, and I have to mention him because I mean I know Kiori found the string and all of that. That's insane, but I've never seen anyone freaking chuck farm Awakened Alma
Oh, yeah.
and get away with it. It's pretty insane, and I don't think anyone will beat the score of 850k because I even tried it one time for fun to farm, dude, and I did it like twice, and then I got killed, and then I was just like, I'm never doing that again in my life, and I pretty much took my run that I did no damage, no ninpo, for the whole series, and I kept the score for that. That was high enough for me. The rest, when I saw him grind for that because he doesn't have his 850 on video. I think the best that he did on video is 813 or something like this.
Yeah, that's not on video, unfortunately.
But it's insane in my opinion.
Yeah,
It's just fucking
it
insane.
is.
Someone that would have patience to do that against that boss. And if when people don't understand what I'm saying is because that boss is so nasty that to think about farming her with nunchaku, I'd rather go jump off a bridge right now. And I'm not joking. All right, so
Well, having said that, if people want to see it again, not plugging, but he's one of the guys that I list on in my channel section.
yeah,
Ryu
you can
Hayabusa
plug all you
3.
want, Big Al, again though.
Well, I'm not plugging my videos because they're not anything special. They just kind of help the average player. But some of the players that I have linked in my channel, that's who I want people to go see, like
Yeah.
Boss Sneh. Sneh has a lot of the old high
Yes.
scores before what they are now. I have JTB, I have the Godfather, I have Kel.
Yeah,
You know,
Kel.
Kel's current one and Kel's older
One
one.
older one. All bait probably.
I have Ballbait. I have Miss Dalton, who's Alhazard from Sigma. I have X Factor, who has a lot of the older videos back in 2006 and 7. I mean, he has some of my old crappy videos. You know, well, no, I'm serious. Now,
You know
these
what I
days,
remember, Big Al, is you Bigalski smokes Doku. You remember?
that was,
Onage Joan channel.
yeah, that guy took my video and tried to claim it as himself until I called it out. And when you look at that video today, it really is junk.
Yeah.
But back when I first made it, nobody had seen the low health UF connect with Doku and do that much damage.
Yeah.
And that's where, that progression comes from. But some other people in that, let's see, X Factor hates you, like I had mentioned before, but Ryu Hayabusa 3. Now,
Yeah.
the thing with his video recordings, he either used a camera.
Yeah, camera, old
whatever,
camera. Yeah.
and they're kind of pieced together. But not only is his Awakened Alma good, just some of the other cool little tricks.
Combo, yeah.
His combo videos are awesome.
Yeah.
know,
Not a
so
lot of
I
people
would-
can make combo video not look redundant in that game because as much as I like some people trying to do some combo video, you can only see so much like some X into old Y into shuriken. You know, you
Yeah,
see like
yeah.
the classic into FS after. That was pretty much all people were doing, and there's people that were impressed by that. But if you knew a little bit of the movement, you knew that was just a little bit redundant. And Ryu Hayabusa 3 had a lot of actually cool, neat little trick, but that were not easy to do, and you needed to have great knowledge with the game to understand what was behind those tricks.
Well, him jumping over the little the fiend soldiers, you know how they shoot the little red orb out of their chest?
Yeah.
He just stands in front of them and jumps over it.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like, wow, nobody was doing that. I was like, oh my God, let me roll left or right or jump backwards. I mean, JTB, did you do any of that stuff, or you just weren't focused that much on the combo because you were going for score?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. Like, it's kind of a shame, that a lot of the stuff early on was very much like, is this applicable for karma? If not, who cares?
Right.
Yeah, and that's kind of a shame, really.
And
Well, I remember because I started playing for score. I mean, I'm sure people know by now that I'm in my, mid 50s and been playing the game since the 70s and stuff like that. And back then, it was all about score. Who cares how
fast
you
you do
could
it.
manipulate the ghosts and Pac-Man and eat all the dots and do all. It's like, hey, what's your score at the end of the day?
Yeah.
That's all that mattered. And so I kind of took that approach in Ninja Gaiden and Ninja Gaiden Black. It's like, hey, they put a scoring system in here for a reason.
Yeah. You know
They
what I
made
always
time
said? I
limits.
always said that though. The same as you'd say. I say if they did it like this, there's a leaderboard, there's karma. It's because that's the main thing they wanted the game to be focused on,
Right. And you can play it however you want to. And that's what I tell people. Hey, look, if you want to skip fights and wall jump and throw shurikens and, do all the stuff that, that's fine and dandy. But don't come back to me and say score
Is
means
meaningless or
nothing.
is wordless. Yeah, no, definitely not.
Yeah.
Don't
Until
agree
you
with that.
try it.
Yeah.
What was the guy's name? JTB Francipino or
Oh, Fran Pincho.
Yeah,
the Game Facts era.
yeah.
Yeah.
He used to blast me all the time about score and how easy it is and all this stuff. And then I'll never forget, he finally got Sigma and he wanted to play very hard for score. And he said, he came back to me and said, "Oh my God, I am so sorry." He said, "I tried, even with videos, to do the best that I can, and I was still 4 million points behind you." And he said, "So I take it all back. Playing for score is a lot harder than people think. Yes, it's about UTs and getting points like
Yeah,
that."
but people don't realize how much depth there is to that. But I mean, if we go
Right,
into that,
Mhm.
we're gonna go for a while. In the sense, we
right,
could
right.
keep it for another video at some point. We could just talk about this. We could actually even at some point when he's done with it, we could put Kel's karma run in the background, and talk about it, and
Oh, I would love to do that for people to understand. But, you know, I will say, because I'm gonna have to wrap this up. Shelly's coming home and
no
I gotta,
problem, no problem.
stuff. But I hope we continue because we didn't do anything of what we initially started out with.
Yeah, no, I'm fine with doing it another time. Once again, guys, I said it.
Oh
Yeah,
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 So
me too. Say we kind of only really scratched like NGO4, really.
yeah,
right.
kind
Yeah.
of just
And
scratch the surface.
but I just want to say, the game has come a long way from back in the beginning. I are fortunate enough to have been, have seen it progress from back then to now. I mean, there's still some more, players that we didn't mention. I will give a shout out to P. Sarin. I've got to meet quite a few players. I've met him, Weeble, JTB. We all got together and have got to play a few times. But I'll never forget being in P. Sarin was like, "Well, I'm going to play CG4 and Master Ninja, and I'm going to beat it 5 times in a row." And god damn it if he didn't, and made it look easy. And it was just amazing. And I just thought it was so cool
Right.
that, somebody could have the understanding of this game versus, "Oh, it's too hard, I'm not going to play."
Yeah.
So, much respect for all those guys. Godfather doing the no damage. Ninja of Sorrow did one back in the day, but he pieced together,
Yeah.
and I'm not again meaning to disparage him, but he pieced together the pit in chapter 7
Yeah. Yeah.
going to Hydrocubus. And
Yeah.
there's another guy out here who has a no damage run who did that too.
Yeah. Yeah. Everyone did that. By the way, everyone did that.
And
Yeah.
I did not do it, but
oh yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
everyone. No, actually, the only other person that hasn't do it, but he skipped the fight in the middle is Farnham, the drunk. Like you must have seen him on
Oh
Mhm.
yeah,
on
yeah, yeah.
Iberian.
Yeah, I know
That's he's
Farnham.
he's
Yeah.
a really good player. So he did it, but he skipped the 2 mid fight because I guess he got burned out for it, and I can't really blame him because I did this entire gauntlet, and when I redid it, no damage, no ninpo in 2018, it took me literally a week of streaming 8 hour a day just on
Wow.
that fucking section.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's really painful. The main thing is that the mid fight are not that problematic. Even the room you can make them safer, up to a point. The real problem was the freaking Hydrocubus with those black cat that can guard crush you
Yeah.
and ruin your entire fucking run. And that's
Yeah,
that's what's really annoying. That gauntlet is a lot trickier, I think, than what people think. And to Karma, I think it must be one of the worst section in the game because I didn't
Oh
do a
yeah.
Karma run, but I know the section that are hard even without doing it, and I know the gauntlet, anything gauntlet when you go down, for example, the elevator, chapter 6, that entire gauntlet, anything that has over 4 encounter in a row is going to be hard to Karma
I
because
tell you what
Yeah,
was
and it's why I think it's why you can get so easily because the chapter 1, not to like what we were talking about this earlier, but
yeah,
the chapter 1 kind of like there was a time where a lot of people were calm running chapter 1 Master Ninja to try and get like a a high score.
optimal score. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's that first gauntlet.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people that have never like that is the longest gauntlet in the
The
game.
game, yeah, it is. Yeah,
by,
it is.
by 3 fights.
It's eight.
The-
It's
the-
8 fight right in a row, I think.
It's 8 fights in a row, yeah.
Yeah.
And on Sigma it's 9 because there's an extra
Yeah,
one.
the one at the beginning. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the early one.
It's 8 fights in a row, and it's just brutal. There are so many things that can go wrong. You can get to the trapdoor room, and you can have a perfect run, and if you just get one ninja that like tanks a UT and doesn't die,
Yeah.
that throws off
Fucked up.
everything.
But actually, you
know?
say that, I don't know how many run I failed because of that very last fight where I was on the mark to getting, my 290, and
Yeah.
and I got fucked because of that. Another thing also that, I mean, I said that to myself back in the day, and I'm sure JTB thought the same thing, okay? Is that I always knew that at some point the best karma run would be someone running at low health, like Kel is doing right now, without
Yeah,
the
exactly.
UF. Why? Simply because it forces blue drop, and then if you can not kill enemies with UT and kill them regularly after, and you drop blue, you get all those extra UT. And I knew that that would be the way. And even if, no discredit to Balbade being an amazing player, same with Ice Lord, they did not do that. And when I saw Kel do that early on, I knew it. I was like, this is the run,
Yeah, his runs are going to be. I feel like I genuinely feel like once he's finished, like once he's done Master Ninja and Hard, I really doubt if those scores are ever going to be beaten, because I feel like you're going to have to get a combination of someone who knows the game as well as Kel. And while we're talking about Kel, real quick, I feel like a lot of people don't know that Kel has been around since pretty much like the first Iberians forum.
Yeah, I know. It's been there for
a lot
time.
of people might
And
not
he's
remember
still
that,
active.
but like he took a massive break. I know when I did my last Master Ninja run, he kind of took a break then, and he came back with his new runs. So he took a good like probably 10 years almost like away from the game. But yeah, I really don't think they're going to be beaten, just because you need someone with that knowledge and more than anything, like that determination to actually do the runs.
Yeah, and I can already confirm that I'm not gonna do it. So, I'm not going for that.
I will say that it goes back to how we started off about the players in 2004, 2005. How, I mean, one person we didn't get a chance to really mention was Captain Tuttle.
Oh
And
yeah.
he owned a lot of the scores, especially in the Hurricane packs. HB2, he broke 5 million. Pure Grunt, who is really good in Ninja Gaiden 2 in terms of the survival, especially with the True Dragon Sword. We'll talk about that on another time. There's so many players, but I know you mentioned that, Kel did something that Balbade didn't do. But, Balbade said something one time whenever he made his HP1 video. And he said, look, all I did was watch Big Al's videos and try to get the points he did. And I think, once that stuff is on video now for people to see, it's like, oh, okay, well, I know this works, but what can I do to improve? So Kel probably saw the strats that Balbade took, and some of the other players that are what is it, TKMO?
Yeah, well, I mean, he's the uploader. He's not the player, but the channel. There's a lot of strat there too. Yeah, and there's some people, like Burning Leaf did a good chapter 1 score there, so maybe Kel like kind of checked that also for his strat and all of that.
And that's the great thing about it. It's not that people didn't, they didn't know to do it. They didn't know what was possible. And the great thing about this game is, 15 years later,
it's still an evolution.
What's possible. And I think that's awesome. And but it all started, just back in the beginning, and how it all, and I got to hand it to Iberian Warrior for having such a great site. It's a shame
it's a shame that it got shut down.
Yebyosh made a mission mode guide that he took from the community. And
oh yeah, I was going to mention that actually earlier, but I completely forgot.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that's lost. And that just he took different strategies from different people, their inputs. My one that I put in there was on Pazu, about throwing the shuriken and letting it explode, and have your health marked on your screen. I used to mark my screen, and then that's what would spawn the next set of enemies.
Yeah.
You could have a charge ready for that. That was my one little contribution, but he took it from everybody. It didn't matter your skill level. It just mattered, that you were willing to, hey, I have a good idea. Maybe this will work. And people
Yeah.
took that and say, oh, well, you're not good enough. You didn't break 20 million. So, you don't, what
You
you
don't
say.
count. Yeah, it's not valid or anything.
Yeah.
No,
So
that because the thing is that sometimes new player will have different perspective also that old player will not have. For example, you know that lunar strat that I do now on the first Doku. That was found basically by a digital T, that I told you that I was doing the guide with earlier. He pretty much was messing around trying different weapon against different boss, and he found that randomly, And I think that before that, even for your run, JTB, and for Frenchie's run, you guys were going YOLO Gleaming Blade with the dragon sword,
I feel like
and now it's kind of a like more it's the safer strat with that. And sometimes he will block the lunar, it will be annoying, but it's a lot better than risking taking the charge attack and all that stuff. Where
that's pretty much what I used to like, because I haven't done that many runs for normal. I think I've only done 5, and that was just something where I thought.
Just done 5, he's still ranked top 10 after 5 years of putting the run, JTB.
Yeah, I mean that's not too bad.
What a beast, bro.
But no, like that's kind of because I used to kind of want to save my talisman for Mirai.
Yeah.
But Doku he was just so random. I thought, sod it. Like I'll just Gleaming Blade him, and if he takes my talisman, who cares?
So be it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's sort of what I earmarked the talisman for. And it was just Gleaming, and like if you get a really good Gleaming Blade, like that's the thing about Doku, I guess. Like if you just land back-to-back Gleaming Blades on him, like you just shred his life bar, and it's just so quick. But the odds of you getting that are just so slim.
Yeah, he can pretty much just block the entire thing if he wants to be a dick and all.
Yeah. And he can block, and I've had him, and even on normal, like I've had him block it just like 3 times in a row, and you think, are you kidding me? Like he'll block the entire thing.
It's very frustrating.
Sound too,
it's a cool sound.
Ding,
it's a great sound, but you don't want to hear it 3 times in a row.
Sword cling, ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
Hey, one other thing that was super important
before you forget,
while I'm thinking about it,
is,
and it's again Kiori.
Okay,
but
go
it's
ahead.
the use of fire wheels.
Oh yeah, to charge and all of that. You mean also?
No, well, that using it on the bosses, on Hydrocubus, on Pazu, but the charge, in terms of getting extra karma to knock the fiend soldiers off and stuff like that. People hardly ever used fire wheels back in the day compared to how important that they are.
Yeah, it was very underrated actually, and now it's really good for a lot of stuff. I don't know so if you've seen it, because I don't go for that strat, but there's still a valid strat to launch Alma 1 with fire wheel continuously, like where you can do like XY, the loop in the air, then not go fully, the what is it called, blade of near T or something like this. But you do it, but you don't go for the final X. And then after that, with the fire wheel, you can keep looping her in the air, and you can take out a good chunk of health. The thing is she can get out of it, but that still works. So yeah, the fire wheel can be pretty damn useful all around, and there's a lot of places where you use it in a speed run. And actually, I want to mention something too before I forget, because I've seen you watch some of his video too, JTV, and I think he's been doing a great job. Someone more recently, but Guilty Gaming has been doing some modding for NGB. I don't know if you've seen that, Big Al, a little bit.
Yeah.
Yes,
I think he's been doing some great video, and even I wanted to mention the one, because we were talking about NGO4 earlier, where there's a tutorial on Mirai at the beginning of the game, and they removed it on NGB. Did you remember about that?
I remember. I remember the tutorial. It was in there. It was one of those things where I'd forgotten that was in the game, really, because you just don't really use it. But yeah, Guilty's been doing some great stuff, and I always try and catch his stream whenever I can, because it's fun to watch people play. Like I'm enjoying having a bit of a break right now, and one of the things I'm really actually enjoying doing is watching people play, which apparently Al tells me I shouldn't do.
Yeah, right?
He needs to take a
I'll make
break,
people
man.
like
Stay away
nervous.
from it.
Yeah, but I mean, he jumps on my channel, and then he's like, "Well, I'm gonna start testing stuff," because I
Yeah,
asked him about something and all,
Yeah.
and you get that little tick, fuck, I have to go check. This is
Yeah, exactly. But it's definitely it's a way to kind of, I guess, like still kind of stay plugged in, but it's really nice not having to like make videos and stuff. But,
content and all. Yeah.
But yeah, it's just been fun to watch people play. I know you mentioned Gala earlier, TGD, and like
Yeah.
I'd never like seen her stream before, so it was fun to be able to watch that.
And
it's just
there's
something
a lot of new runner.
know.
I don't know if you checked the leaderboard, but it's been pretty active in general.
I don't. I am bad for that. I must
Yeah.
admit. I don't really check the leaderboard that often.
It changed. It changed quite a bit. I mean, wait, if I can pull it up, I'm just gonna show you the activity of the run very recently, and it's great. So a lot more players are getting interested in the run. Look at that leaderboard, what it looks like compared to what it looked like back then for you. So it look like that now.
Hold on, Will, real quick. Wait. So I got to kind of rib you a little bit. I know you beat the world record by 2 seconds, but
Yeah, why
see,
my GT is slower by 2 seconds?
Exactly.
It's because I didn't mash probably enough at certain door and stuff like that. And that's why, by the way, Big Al, we go by RTA, because that's misleading the end game time because of this, because I did finish faster technically, but my IGT is 2 seconds slower still, because there might be loading at the door or anything. Maybe I didn't mash A or X enough sometimes to open door. It happened, But that's But that's pretty much why. But look at the activity of the leaderboard and the way of the run. So 1 week, 1 week, 2 week, 3 month, 2 month, 3 month, 1 month, 1 week. Sorry. And
yeah,
then,
that is much better.
You see,
I just
much more active in general. I mean, of course, there's some old one, but much more active than what it was. And yet, there you see, you have JTB still there after all that time, bro. Pretty insane.
So out of those top scores, who uses the dupe glitch?
Nobody on the top, because even Razor, by the way, Miguel, that was saying he was using it, he's not even using it at this point anymore, because I kind of threw them all off with that, because I showed and I explained that if Frenchie did it with Ostrack back in the day, that it's possible to do it today without the extra dupe, so I'm not going for it. Yeah, I'm not going for it.
I'm old school and I don't believe in any of that. I know I'm an outdated dinosaur when it comes to that.
Side note, actually, want to mention one last thing, because I'll forget about it. Speedrun wise, this game is so crazy that I don't know if you guys knew about that. So there's Major Richie, one of the runner at 4th place right now, that recently found OOB. I don't know if you saw it in chapter 11, actually, in the swim, after you get into the area, where you kill the bone dragon. You saw, right? So you can go through the wall, and then you could skip JTB the entire section where the fish are, and you could land basically on the platform where Doku is. I
did see that.
Where you go up, okay? But the game is so well made that so far all the OOB that got found, like this one, someone practiced it in an actual run, okay? And then after you kill Doku, the game soft lock. Because I guess you don't trigger the timer of one of the fight, and the game recognizes it, and then it's soft lock.
Yeah.
Another one that I saw very recently, I knew, Bigal, you were going to say that. Another one that I saw recently, somebody was fighting Hydrocubus chapter 5, okay? He got grabbed by the tentacle, and the way Hydrocubus was placed, he got thrown off behind the wall blocking the access to the monastery. He went up the stair, the game soft lock. It went into loading and soft lock.
I'm with Al on that, to be honest. I'm one thing. I get why he's doing it, but I know that karma glitch in chapter 2 that was found. Where you can just get ETs and you get UT points. I get why Kel's using that, because he's going for the high score essentially. But I remember thinking I probably still wouldn't
not do that.
And even the ninpo dupe glitch, and it's one of the reasons why because I think NG2's got quite a lot of skips in it for speedruns.
Oh yeah, it's
Um,
disgusting. It's
and-
OOB festival out there, and
Yeah,
OOB,
and,
by
like,
the
and that
way,
just
Bigal
doesn't-
is out of bound, by the way, for translation. Yeah.
Thank you.
Out of bounds. Yeah.
But yeah, like that stuff's just, I guess, it's from a different era, you know. Like I wouldn't use that stuff, even if the ninpo dupe glitch turns out to be faster. At this point, like I could see doing some like harder mode speedruns. Like my hope for that is that like if there's a video out there for them, it might help people get into them because they won't have to break it down. But I'm not going to use that, even though on Master Ninja, really,
It would be
you
really
probably
useful.
should.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you probably should
Yeah.
use it. But
Yeah.
you know, if you could do it every time and have 5 nimpos in chapter 4, I mean, on Master Ninja, that would be insane.
Because technically, you
that-
could get up to 10 slot, but it will only refill 5 per Great Devil Elixir, pretty much.
Yeah, I don't think you'd need 10 either, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think that'd be overkill.
It's too strong.
Um,
It's already really strong. That's what people don't realize. Nimpo, in the end of good player, it's pretty much like free. You know, that's why though, no joke. If you never really tested it, and there's a great difference, I think, in the mission mode that were done no damage using Nimpo versus using no Nimpo.
Oh yeah, no hurt, no nimpo is nuts. It's nimpo. I feel like that's another thing that is kind of like just how powerful nimpo is. It's,
And Ninpo canceling.
Yeah.
it's kind of ridiculous,
Yeah.
you know, which you couldn't do in NGO4. For anyone that I think we have mentioned that before, but a lot of the stuff in NGO4, you've got a lot more recovery. Even in Sigma, you can't do like back-to-back nimpo the way you can in Black. You know how in Black you can just kind of Inferno and then immediately Inferno again
right
with like
after.
no gap.
Yeah, another thing
you
is that
can't,
if you switch the Nimpo in the menu, it's even faster. So, for instance, if you fire wheel and then you want it to end a little early, you go in the menu, switch to Inferno, put back fire wheel. Your fire wheel will end. You can recast it right after.
Yeah. And I mean, like that stuff. That's one thing that'll be interesting actually with the Master Collection, because as far as I can tell from what they've shown, that's actually going to be the Vita version of Sigma. I don't know about 2, but I would assume it is. But and fire wheels in that version is even better. Like, and it's nuts how good it is.
You heard about the stupid hero mode they're introducing about in the game?
Yeah, that was in. I think that was in the Vita version.
Yeah.
I played that because there's a trophy for doing like 100 nimpos, and the easiest way to do that is just play hero mode.
Yeah, because you get infinite nimpo.
Yeah,
that's what it is, Miguel.
Infinite
nimpo, and the game will block automatically for you.
Yeah, I found that infuriating though, because there are certain times where like you'd be doing a combo. And it would roll for you, and you're like, no, I didn't want to roll there. Like I could have just, that wouldn't have hit me. But like the game, like takes over for you. It's like easy auto in Devil May Cry. Like who the hell plays that?
Yeah.
Have you ever tried that, TGD? Like the easy auto mode.
I tried a little bit, and no, I could not understand it.
Yeah.
And
you just can't.
The
play.
worst thing is, you want to know something? A little side note with that. I'm not gonna go on a tangent here, but one of my friend that I know, okay. He thought for the longest time, he never asked me, he thought for the longest time that I was playing in automatic when I was doing the max act and all of that in DMC4. And he actually played an automatic for the longest time. And then I just told him like face palm, you know, in a way that I can't believe you just didn't ask me to what I was playing. And there's no way you can do the type of combo that I was doing in DMC4 if you're playing on automatic, because it's gonna do stuff for you.
Yeah, it'll just throw in like a random gunshot for no reason. You're like, what? No, why would you want to do that?
Yeah, no, it's awful. So that's why hero mode, I would say. I don't know why they call it that though, because you see, I like the Ninja Dog in NGB in terms of the easiest difficulty, because it's like you suck too much, you play on normal, you play on Ninja Dog, I guess.
I'll be right there.
And pretty much the other one, they call it hero, and it's not heroic at all. You know, you're playing an easy mode. But we'll wrap this up for today, guys, because Big Al has to go. So we'll do that again some other time, and we'll continue about pretty much the history of Ninja Gaiden.
I know we've talked a lot about it, and I don't know about our structure, but like I said, we've hit on a lot of points about the beginning and the beginning players, and I'm just glad that you guys are still around after all this, and Godfather, that you're doing what you're doing, and when JTB comes back, it's going to be awesome. So it's I'm pretty excited.
It might be an if at this point.